Maybe it hits you the second the house finally gets quiet. Your head hits the pillow, and your mind starts shouting a report you didn't ask for. Worst case scenarios. Regrets. That tight? What if I can't handle this? Loop. But God didn't leave you defenseless in that moment. In this video, I'm going to show you a biblical way to identify fearful thoughts, challenge them, and replace them with truth that actually holds. And there's one mistake that keeps believers fighting fear all day. I'll name it in a minute. Here's the catch. Before you can cast down a thought, you have to name what it is. The reason this matters is simple. Unchallenged thoughts don't stay thoughts. They become decisions. They become moods. They become habits. And eventually, they start feeling like, that's just who I am. But Scripture says the fight is real, and it's not random. 2 Corinthians 10 verses 3-5 tells us, "For though we walk in the flesh, we are not waging war according to the flesh." That means you're living a normal life, working, parenting, paying bills, but there's also a spiritual battle happening in the way you think. Here's the balance most people miss. This battle is in the mind, but it's not only mental. We don't get spooky. We don't blame everything on a demon. But we also don't pretend fear is just a quirky personality trait. Paul says we destroy arguments and every lofty opinion raised against the knowledge of God, and take every thought captive to obey Christ. That phrase, cast down, or destroy, doesn't mean you debate fear for 2 hours at midnight. It means you refuse agreement. You stop letting fear preach unchecked. So let me give you 3 quick filters straight from that verse. When a fearful thought shows up, run it through these. Number 1, does it exalt itself against knowing God? Fear loves to whisper, God won't come through this time. Or, God is disappointed in you. Or, you're on your own. That's not just a feeling, that's a statement about God's character. And if it contradicts what you know about Him, it's a thought that needs to be confronted. Number 2, is it obedient to Christ? Some thoughts sound practical, but they lead you away from trust, away from prayer, away from obedience. They push you into self-protection, controlling, hiding, shutting down. Christ leads you toward faith-filled action. Fear leads you toward paralysis. Number 3, is it a stronghold pattern? A stronghold isn't a spooky word. It's a repeated, rehearsed, familiar script. It's the same fear, different day. And the longer you rehearse it, the more normal it feels. Now here's the thing most people miss. You can't cast down what you keep calling just my personality. You can't fight what you refuse to name. If you keep saying, I'm just an anxious person, fear gets to move in like a roommate. Let's tie this to real life. A believer is lying awake. Tomorrow is packed. There's a hard conversation, money pressure, and one more kid who needs something. And in the dark, fear starts preaching. You're going to fail. You're going to snap. Something bad is coming. It's not just noise. It's a sermon. It's trying to disciple you. So here is the practical skill. Write the fearful thought as one clear sentence. Not a foggy emotion. A sentence. Because vague fear feels unbeatable. Ask yourself, what am I predicting exactly? What am I assuming God won't do? What am I trying to control right now? Once you can say it plainly, you're no longer wrestling shadows. You're holding the thought in the light. And once you've named it, don't stop there. Because naming fear without replacing it is like taking out the trash and bringing the empty bin right back into the kitchen. Next, we're going to replace that loud report with truth that steadies your mind. Now here's where most people mess up. They think the goal is to empty their mind. Just stop thinking. Just calm down. But a vacuum doesn't stay empty, and fear loves empty space. Romans 12 verse 2 gives you a different goal. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind. Transformation doesn't start with stronger willpower. It starts with new thinking. And new thinking starts with replacement. This clicked for me when I realized cast down is only half the verse's wisdom. The other half is take captive to obey Christ. Captivity isn't just removal. It's redirecting ownership. That thought is no longer free range. It now has to answer to Jesus. So here's a simple method you can actually do in real life. It's the put off, put on pattern. You put off the lie, and you put on the truth. If you only reject fear, you'll feel strong for about 5 minutes, and then the same script comes back louder. Start with 3 categories of truth that hit fear where it hurts. First, God's presence. Fear says, you're alone in this. But God says He is with you. Not after you fix it. Not when you get it together. With you in the middle of the mess. Second, God's care. Fear says, you're unseen. Your needs don't matter. But Scripture keeps showing a God who sees, who provides daily bread, who counts your tears. The thing most people miss is fear doesn't just predict pain. It accuses God of neglect. Third, God's authority. Fear talks like a master. Like it gets to decide your mood, your choices, your night of sleep. But fear isn't your Lord. Christ is. And when you remember who sits on the throne, fear stops sounding like wisdom. Now bring in Philippians 4 verse 8, because it gives you what I call a thought gate. It doesn't say, only think positive thoughts. It says test your thoughts. Ask, is it true or is it just possible? Fear loves the word possible. It's possible it all falls apart. Yes, it's possible. But is it true? Ask, is it honorable or is it shame-driven? Fear often disguises shame as being responsible. Ask, is it just or is it self-accusing? Some thoughts don't convict you. They crush you. Ask, is it pure or is it contaminated with dread? Dread always leaves a residue. Here is the practical exercise. Take 1 page, 2 columns. Column A. Fear says, write it exactly. I'm going to fall apart tomorrow. I'm going to mess this up. God won't help me. Column B. But God says, and don't write vibes. Write scripture-shaped truth. Even if it's a simple paraphrase you can stand on. God gives strength for today. God is near to the brokenhearted. God will teach me what to do next. And now the open loop I promised. The mistake that ruins everything is trying to replace fear without surrender. Quoting truth while still clenching control doesn't renew your mind. It just decorates your worry. So the believer in our story is still in bed. The thought comes back. What if I fall apart? But this time, they don't just fight it in their head. They whisper, Father, I'm not holding tomorrow. You are. And then they put on truth. I have grace for today. That's renewal. That's warfare with peace. Once you nail that, everything else clicks, because you realize you don't win once. You practice until your default changes. So let me give you a daily battle plan you can remember when your mind is racing. Pause. Notice what's happening in your body. Tight chest. Clenched jaw. That sudden heat of panic. That's not you being dramatic. That's a signal. Name. Say the thought clearly. I'm afraid I won't handle tomorrow. I'm afraid something bad will happen. Call it fear, not wisdom. Fear always wants the title. Discernment. Don't give it that. Submit. Short prayer. No performance. Something like, Father, I give you this thought. I can't carry it. Show me what's true. That's surrender. That's you handing the keys back to God. Replace. Speak the truth you chose. Read it again if you need to. Write it down if your mind won't stop looping. The reason this works is you're building a new pathway. You're training your attention to follow Christ, not panic. Act. Take one obedient next step. If it's night, the obedient step might be to go to sleep. If it's day, it might be to make the call, do the task, ask for help, or text a trusted believer. Now here's a practical boundary that protects renewal. Decide who gets first voice. If you wake up and scroll fear into your brain, don't be surprised when your mind feels like a battlefield. Give God first voice, even if it's just one psalm. And don't do this alone. Community matters. Confession matters. Bringing fear into the light breaks the stronghold pattern, because secrecy is where fear gets powerful. One more gentle truth: spiritual steps don't replace professional help when needed. Sometimes trauma, anxiety disorders, and depression require wise support. But even then, these practices support faithful living. They keep your heart anchored while you get help. You cast down fearful thoughts by naming the lie, replacing it with scripture-shaped truth, and practicing surrender until peace becomes your new default. If you want prayer, comment what your mind's been racing about, and I'll lift you up this week. Subscribe to Let's Learn Bible so you never miss a daily video, and watch the next video on standing firm when anxiety hits at night.